Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer? Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. And now, during our Veterans Day sale, save 40% on the Sleep Number Special Edition smart bed, plus free home delivery with any base. Ends Monday. To learn more, go to sleepnumber.com.
A common sense recap of the day's biggest stories. It's John Catsimatidis and Rita Cosby. Cats and Cosby on 77 WABC.
And we are back here on Cats and Cosby. And joining us now is the former Assistant U.S. Attorney for the Southern District, Andy McCarthy. Andy, before we get to some of the lawfare thing, I just want to get your reaction to Letitia James coming out just a little bit ago, the Attorney General of New York, coming out and saying, we're getting ready for the Donald Trump presidency. I mean, it was the most unbelievable statement to hear today. Are you there, Andy? Go ahead, Andy. Yep, go ahead, Andy.
Yeah, I think if I were Letitia James, what I'd be getting ready for is whatever the appellate division is going to do to her case against Trump, which it sounded during the oral argument at a minimum that it was going to be a major reduction of the fine, and some members of the court seemed disposed to throw the whole thing out. So, that's awful brave talk when there's nothing at stake. But I think, if I were the Attorney General, I'd be more worried about the work my office has actually done.
Judge Weinberg.
Andy, as I was looking at this, I had a couple of thoughts. I said, I got to speak to Andy McCarthy about this. You have the federal cases and you have the state cases. I think the federal cases, I want your thoughts, are going to go away. There's going to be a device of just getting rid of the federal cases. So what does Merchan do in the state conviction? Now, the state conviction, he's supposed to be up sentencing. Now, I understand there's a motion before Merchan to dismiss the case. If you're Judge Merchan, what do you do about it? What's the smart move and what's the right legal move? What are your thoughts?
Well, I think there may be some moves to make before that happens. So the latest thing I heard today is that the Justice Department is mobilizing to dismiss the two cases, which would be a refreshing thing if it happens under the Biden-Harris Justice Department.
That's the federal cases.
Yes, and but the reason I think this will impact the state cases is I think Biden realizes he's going to pardon his son. If he just does that, that's going to look like self-dealing and corruption. But if it's part of a clemency package where, he's going to pardon Hunter, but they're also going to dismiss the cases against Trump. And the communication or the vibe of that all is that, let's give the new president a clean slate. I think that could have some impact on the state cases because you're going to get mutiny from New York progressives who may not be the most numerous, but they're the loudest in New York. And Kathy Hochul, if she's going to do anything to dismiss the prosecution against Trump in New York, I don't have much hope that Bragg will do it. She's going to need some protection from the president against the progressives in New York. So I think, there's probably communications going on with respect to this. Regarding Judge Merchan, I hope if he's not just a blind ideologue, one of the things he could do, even if he wants to rule against Trump on the immunity issue, which that ruling is supposed to come next Tuesday, 1 week after the election. One thing he could do is say that the ruling is stayed and allow Trump to appeal whatever he decides on the immunity issue. I think what will then happen, Judge, is that appeal will take more than a year to get through, and it won't get through because once Trump gets in, it'll be in suspense because of the suspension clause. I think the state proceedings against Trump will not proceed during the 4 years while he is president. And then, by the time he's out, he'll be 83. He'll be a twice elected American president. and we'll be talking about ancient history that happened, a decade before. I think the cases at that point will just go away.
You know what? I don't know if you saw Bill Barr has been talking Andy McCarthy today, and he said that he thinks that all the cases, he's not always been a fan of Trump's, and he came out and said for the good of the country, all of these cases should be removed. Real quick, Andy.
Yeah, well, Bill is one of is a brilliant lawyer, and he also was a top lawyer in Justice's Office of Legal Counsel. And they're like the lawyers in the Justice Department. Their guidance says you can't prosecute a sitting president. So no matter how you feel about Trump, once he's in office, the Justice Department can't proceed against him in a criminal case. So that's one of the reasons I think that.
Well, by then it'll be his Justice Department.
Right.
Yes, but even if it's not, John, the Justice Department is not supposed to prosecute a sitting president.
Well, the same way they weren't supposed to bring up charges in the last 90 days before an election, and they did it anyway.
Yeah, but this has to do with Supreme Court jurisprudence and whether you can actually whether the Justice Department can proceed with a criminal case against the chief executive under circumstances where they work for the chief executive.
Yeah, let's see. Boy, it's going to be interesting to see. Andy, thank you so much. Keep us posted, please.
Thanks, Andy.
Great speaking with you.